Goa Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar is no more. From the moment he became the Chief Minister in 2000, in the year 2000, he's been the mainstay of Goan politics from then till now. He's one of the rare IIT graduates who went on to become a politician, and a politician not just within Goa but of a national stature. And I remember that when he was when he first expressed a desire to sort of join politics, to contest elections back in the 80s, his family was very, very upset at that time. I'd read about that. And, but he went on to become Goa's tallest leader. And would you, care to tell us about the main highlights of his achievements as Goa Chief Minister?
Though he was from RSS background, uh, still he was able to take all the communities together. He was one of the first guys in Goa from BJP who gave ticket to 7 Christian candidates.
Right.
And his acceptability among all the communities was very high as compared to another BJP leader. Before Parrikar became the chief minister, Goa was known for unstable governments.
Right.
Very few governments in Goa, after it became part of India, were able to complete 5-year term. So he brought some sort of a stability. And the magical reason for that was that acceptability.
Right.
Even the guys in the opposition, that Maharashtra, Wadi
Right.
Gomantak party, has been opposing BJP, but he was able to bring MGP into the fold of BJP.
Right.
So his acceptability was one of the biggest reasons that why Parrikar became a big leader.
And also went on the national stage, because everyone across
No,
caste and party lines, they sort of,
No, but Parrikar, because he was one of sort of an activist leader,
Right.
and second, Parrikar was very accessible. It was said that 24/7 he was available to people.
Right.
He was a guy who was very easy to chat. He didn't have that chip on his shoulder that is the chief minister of the state. So his acceptability was much more. I remember when Digambar Kamant was the chief minister, he came from BJP and joined Congress and became chief minister. On the mining scam, Parrikar filed an RTI. Being the former chief minister, he went to use the transparency tool to get information against the incumbent chief minister. He went to the level of Chief Information Commission in Delhi
Right.
to seek the information. And on the issues of which affected Goa, like mining and others, he was very extremely vocal, even if it went against the party line. So for him, I think the one biggest factor was that Goa came first, and he also transformed Goa into a lively place. The International Film Festival of India became a permanent feature for Goa when he was the CM, and the UPA government was in power in center.
Right.
So,
And the infrastructure for that also came up in record time,
yeah,
if I recall.
record time it came up, but it was the UPA government he was able to convince that he will provide international level infrastructure, the facilities in Goa.
Right.
And also if you see the tourism industry, how it has grown when he was the chief minister, it has been phenomenal. And infrastructure development in Goa, he did a lot. But I think the biggest political factor about his was his acceptability across party lines. Even people in BJP, on the personal front, they will say good things
Right.
about Parrikar. Even people in Congress will say good things. Even Digambar Kamath, who was the Congress chief minister, was a BJP number 2 when Parrikar was there, joined Congress because he thought he doesn't have a future in BJP because Parrikar is there, had good words for Parrikar. So his stature in the Goa politics was as a huge leader, big leader, one of the tallest political figures in the state.
In fact, that is also a key reason. In 2013, he was when there was not so much acceptability for Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate for the BJP at that time within the party. Manohar Parrikar went out on a limb, and he was one of the first people to propose his name at the executive meet in Goa.
Yeah, I will not agree with the fact that the acceptability of Mr. Narendra Modi was not there. Before the national executive meeting happened, there was the BJP leaders were speaking in favor of Narendra Modi.
Right.
There was not anybody who said
But they
that,
hadn't taken a name yet.
They hadn't. He was one of the first to propose his name.
Yes.
And even before national executive meeting started, Manohar Parrikar was one of the BJP leaders who proposed his name.
Right.
And I think the friendship between Mr. Parrikar and Mr. Modi dates back to the RSS days when they worked together in the RSS. So they had a long history of friendship.
Right, and they worked ground up.
Yeah, and Prime Minister Modi also knew of his capabilities well. That's why he was very keen to bring him in the center and give him an important ministry.
Right, and as Union Defence Minister, then he there were a lot of firsts under Parrikar, and you can probably take us through the highlights of his career as Defence Minister, and
Yeah.
though it was cut short, it was one of the finest. There were a lot of achievements as far as
Yeah, you're certainly very right, Aditi. Now, Manohar Parrikar was the defense minister for a very short period, little less than 2.5 years.
Right.
So perhaps he could not really set out he could not do everything he had planned to do. But two things which Chetan mentioned, the qualities he brought to the table was that he was very acceptable, he was approachable, he was open to new ideas.
Right.
And those were the things which endeared him to the military leadership in South Block in Delhi over here.
right.
So a lot of firsts happened under Manohar Parrikar. He took over as the defense minister towards the end of 2014 and held the charge till early 2017.
17.
And of course, all of us know the first ever surgical strikes, the ones which were acknowledged and owned by the government, took place across the border into Myanmar in 2015 after scores of Indian soldiers were killed in an ambush by the local militants. And a couple of days after that, 4 or 5 days after that, we had our special forces cross the border and destroy 2 or 3 terror camps over there, and imposing heavy casualties on the militants. And barely a year later, the Uri attack happened, in which we lost 19 soldiers. And again, I mean, Myanmar was something else, but this time we went into Pakistan, POK, Pakistan Occupied Kashmir,
Right.
special forces teams attacking terror launch pads, and again acknowledged by the government for the first time.
That
These strikes we did these strikes, and it kind of demonstrated India's hardened military resolve to the world. People have been saying that we've conducted such shallow strikes in the past also, which is correct, but these happened at a very tactical level. The governments were never involved in it. But it was during his term when these 2 big surgical strikes happened, and the government acknowledged that we'd crossed over.
And that was
the
a
other
first,
side. That was,
absolutely.
so this happened during his tenure. Also, another important thing which happened during his tenure was, when he took over, this whole fight over
One
the
rank,
one
one pay.
pension by
Yeah,
veterans was
absolutely.
at its peak. It was an election issue also.
Right.
And to give credit to Mr. Parrikar, he was able to resolve a lot of those issues and implement the scheme, which is the one rank, one pension scheme, which basically means that soldiers retiring, at the same rank and with the same length of service, irrespective of when they retire, will get the same pension.
Right.
And over 3 million soldiers and widows benefited from the implementation of OROP, which was implemented at a cost of rupees 10,000 crore in the first
Right.
installment. And there are some issues with that, but it's still being resolved. Another very important thing which happened during Parrikar's tenure was, we had been negotiating certain foundational agreements with the US,
Right.
which had been pending for over a decade. The first of these was LEMOA, which basically lays down the template for using each other's services, repair facilities, bases on a reimbursable basis. So that was the first foundational agreement which was signed. And the second one was signed, of course, last year, the COMCASA. So that set the stage for the growth of military ties between India and the US.
Yes.
And also, this is for the first time the Indian military would be using helicopters which are the Air Force would be using helicopters which are of US origin. So a very important deal worth about $3 billion was signed under Parrikar. These were for 22 Apache attack helicopters and
Right.
15 Chinook heavy lift
Okay, that's
helicopters.
quite a list in 2.5 years.
Yes, and now these were the deals which were done. Another important deal which was signed was with the US again for buying M777 ultralight howitzers.
Right.
We bought these guns because we are creating new fighting formations in mountainous areas, a mountain strike corps. So these can be quickly deployed, and you can swiftly deliver the military response you want to. So this deal was also signed during his term as defense minister.
Right. Small surprise that Nirmala Sitharaman says that, his contribution in making the armed forces a lean and mean fighting machine is unparalleled. Yeah.
Yes. I have to mention that it was again during his term that the defense ministry initiated a major reform. So he formed a 11-member panel, a committee under Lieutenant General D.B. Shekatkar, which was tasked to find out how we can reduce military expenditure, how we can cut the tooth-to-tail ratio.
Right.
And it was the outcome of this study that the army decided to redeploy around 57,000 men in a direct combat role.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an important contribution as well.
Exactly. I mean, so many things done, and of course his career or his tenure as a defense minister was cut short when he had to go back to Goa because he was needed there, and that was his home state. Would you, and now that he's no more, and sadly his death comes at a time when there is a lot of political turmoil in the state. The opposition Congress has staked its claim to form the government there. And how do you see that playing out, Chetan? Where are we headed as far as, because they've still not been able to identify a successor, the BJP, for Parrikar. I mean, it's too soon, but unfortunately the situation in the state is such that things need to move faster.
If you see in what's happening in Goa today, it speaks a lot about Parrikar. Parrikar was a factor which bonded all the allies. There are two major allies, and one is the MGP, which has 3 MLAs, the Goa Forward Party, which has 3 MLAs, and 3 independents who were supporting the Parrikar government.
Right.
With he being no more there, today they are not on a consensus of who should be the next chief minister. The BJP has proposed the name of Pramod Sawant, who is the Speaker of Goa Assembly, as the possible chief minister. This is primarily because 9 of 11 BJP MLAs want that somebody from the BJP should become the chief minister, because the remaining 2 are the guys who have come from Congress recently and have become elected as MLAs, the BJP MLAs. So this demand is not acceptable to MGP, because MGP's leader Sudhin Davlekar is saying that he is the senior most minister he was the senior most minister in Parrikar's cabinet, and he should be made the chief minister, which is not acceptable to Goa Forward Party, which says that its leader Sardesai should be the CM, because they have support of 3 independents also. So they are saying they are a group of 6, so they have a number. But the Congress, on the other hand, is also playing smart. They have staked claim. And if you see technically, being the single largest party, they can be called by the governor to form the government. If they can get support of MGP, Goa Forward or independents, they have a probability to form the government, because the strength of the house has been reduced to 36 from original 40. Because 2 of the Congress guys resigned, the bypoll has not happened, and 1 BJP MLA died, and after Parrikar's death, number is 36 now. So 4 MLAs are less. So they need a number 19. Congress is 14. Getting 5 MLAs will not be difficult for Congress, because BJP with 12, it is a much tougher task
to bridge the divide.
The possibility is that the governor may put the assembly in suspended animation, and the president's rule may be imposed, and then they can look at possibility for a stable government in coming days.
What is the right? I mean, of course, as a political journalist who's been tracking politics for years, what is the right thing for the governor to do here?
No, it is very difficult to say, because as per the norms and precedents, there are different precedents set up recently also, and normally as per the Supreme Court, the single largest party should be called. But there is also judgment that the governor has to take a call that which grouping can form a stable government. So it is a discretion of the governor. The Supreme Court has clearly said there are no set rules in this, that it is the discretion of the governor. If the parties think that the governor has done something wrong or unconstitutional, they can move court against the governor's verdict. And it has been challenged in the past, like you can see in case of Uttarakhand where the president rule was imposed, in case of Arunachal where the BJP took over, the MLAs joined. So, and the Supreme Court had ruled in favor against the governor's verdict in the two states in the recent past. And then there is the Bomai case, which has given clear directions on what has to be done. Different options are there for the governor, but the governor will have to study what the BJP puts on the table, what the Congress is putting on the table, and the constitutional arrangement for such thing.
Right.
So it is not a black and white thing for the governor.
Right. So, politics in Goa has already hit a limbo with Parrikar's demise. The BJP is definitely going to miss Parrikar in Goa, and the country is going to miss a technocrat politician who was known for getting things done. Stay tuned to HindustanTimes.com. We'll keep bringing you more updates.